Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
And studio audience, shut up.
Welcome back to Peer Pressure Live. wait. All right, everybody. Welcome to Peer Pressure Live. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Yeah.
We got a good show planned for you today.
Hey, chill out.
We have a few guests on the roster.
You're too much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Roses? Oh my God, thank you.
Peer pressure. Pressure. Peer pressure.
And we're live.
Peer pressure.
Welcome back to the inaugural episode of Peer Pages.
Peer pressure.
Pages.
The first episode of the Peer Pressure Book Club. And if you don't know who it is, it's your host, Brando, in the building. And can I get some bombs for me, please? Because you always bomb yourself, man, and I never get bombs.
And more tune for your head.
Wow.
Watch how you spell my name, you know?
And we got my... You never gave me the good bombs.
Just go ahead. Wait, who's here?
And I got my co-host with me. His name is Damisito. True life. Dom is addicted to the bombs.
I'm addicted. Last episode, I don't know if any of y'all caught this. The true Peer Pressure fans caught it. We're in the interview with Kamal. And Kamal, I'm dropping too many bombs at this point. I'm coming in hot.
Oh, God.
I'm like doing them all over the place. And all the true fans know that I have a problem with dropping bombs. It gets a little excessive at times. And Brandon looks at me in the middle of the interview. This is a YouTube exclusive.
Wait. I dropped one pair of bombs, and then Dom looks at me, and he goes, "Hey, bro, we gotta relax on the bomb."
Hey, chill out. No, but mid me dropping bombs, like going, Brandon looks at me. He gives one of these hands, like like when you're in trouble with your parents, but they're not gonna tell you anything. They go
like you're in a restaurant and you gotta just.
Hey. This is a one hand. This is a YouTube exclusive. You can only see this on YouTube. And that was it.
I gotta
Hey,
keep him in check, bro.
Chill.
That's the job.
Mid podcast, you did that. I'm impressed.
But if you want to get back on topic, we're reviewing or not reviewing. Sorry,
Is that a shot?
What?
Just kidding. If you want to get back on topic.
Oh no! Don't be sensitive over here, bro. We're discussing the first 5 chapters of Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari in my Rari. Just a quick synopsis of what we read so far, or the general idea of the book. Sapiens is about, you guessed it.
You guessed it. You guessed
Homo Sapiens. And as they discussed in the first chapter, just jumping right in.
Oh, let me check.
We got notes on deck if you don't know.
Pull out my notes real quick.
That was good Foley right there. Good Foley artistry.
Just so they can hear that I actually have my notebook out.
Just some notebooks.
If you haven't, you should watch this on YouTube because you can see I have my pen, my notebook.
We're pushing YouTube heavy if you can't tell. So in biology,
this is chapter 1.
Yeah, they're talking about the genus and the I'm sorry, I messed up.
This fool can't even read.
I already messed up. But Homo sapiens.
And more tune for your
Sorry,
head.
I was trying to do the beep one. On my bad.
Homo is our genus, which is the species, and sapiens.
That part is really important. Not really important. It talks about like dogs, and like one of my favorite parts of that first chapter is it was talking about like humans think they're so special, and it's like one of the most guarded secrets that there were other humans.
We're not the only ones, man.
Yeah, it wasn't like just how there's other like species of, what was the example? Like
there's like different types of dogs, like peck. This is not in the book. What did it say in the book?
That was the part that was confusing because there's genuses,
yes, and there's species,
and there was different
species within our genus. So Homo is our genus, and there's Homo erectus, Homo
yes.
Then Homo neanderthalis and stuff like that. We're Homo sapiens. We humbly named ourselves Homo sapiens, which means wise man. You know what it is. We're so smart.
But the difference between dogs was dogs. There's different, like a lot of different breeds of dogs. They all look different, but dogs are all under the same species.
Genus.
No, they're all the same species. All like a poodle and like a chihuahua. They're all under the same species.
Okay.
But they're different. There's another one that's different, but in there, I don't know what it's called though.
Oh, okay. So it's like dogs, and then they're related to wolves and related to jackals.
All dogs can breed with each other.
So, for example, like a house cat and like a lion, they're still under the same genus,
not the
different
same species.
species.
Like the biggest example was like a donkey and a horse.
Right.
They might like be the same genus, but they're
Right.
not the same species.
I
I,
feel
don't
you.
know if I'm saying that word right.
No,
to be
it's
fair.
genus. It's genus for sure.
Okay, because you know what word I always say wrong is genre,
What do you say?
genre.
Are you serious?
When I first looked at it, I was like, what genre of music do you listen to? Sorry. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I do one of the key points that I do like that he mentioned.
This is in the first chapter.
Yes,
correct?
still in the first chapter. We are not probably gonna last as long as one of our other cousins, Homo erectus, who lasted 2 million years of existence. And he said in the book very funnily, like
Funningly?
funningly,
Very funningly.
we're not likely to last that long. We're not likely to last 2 million years. And I'm cool with that.
My favorite part too was the timeline in the beginning.
Yes.
Like you're saying that when you first read the book, you opened that timeline.
Yes.
What are you saying?
No, I'm just agreeing with
Oh
you.
yeah, yes.
Oh,
I
yes,
said
I support that.
Nah, but he was saying that when he first opened that book, it took him a while to get past that timeline. I think it's really like in general when you have like such a like because what are we alive for like 100 years if you're lucky?
Yeah.
It's hard to grasp like 1,000 years compared and even like 50,000 years is almost impossible.
Right.
And what the world has been around for like 7 billion years.
Yeah, something like
Or a
that.
million years?
Ballpark.
Wow, I'm scared because I'm pretty sure it's like 7 million.
I want to say 7 million. But if we were on Jeopardy, we'd probably get it wrong.
Yeah, that's probably not right. But anyway, like, so for us to even grasp 50,000 years is really hard. Like,
yeah.
2 million years being on the planet is nuts. And we're
Right.
not even close to that.
That's a long-standing species, my guy.
I mean, Jesus has only been around for 2,000 years. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
More
there's
truth
no
for
bomb
your
there.
head
I'm
top, so
so
watch how you speak on my name, you know?
I hit a blank
The
one.
world
I'm
only
sorry.
started 2,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So,
I
like,
feel you.
it's pretty impressive.
I'm looking at the camera right now, and I'm very sorry for anyone who's listening to this and is offended by my colleague here.
Dinosaurs didn't exist. That's a hot take.
Okay. But what in that timeline was really interesting was the everything was moving so slowly from the creation of the universe, the Big Bang, and everything
Yeah.
like that. But once we discovered fire, my guy,
Yeah.
fire.
Can you hit a
I
right
can't-
bomb, bro?
Everything's backwards.
From nowhere.
Sorry, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm stopping with the bombs.
TBT.
It's me.
No, it's funny because one of my notes in my book, the first thing I have, like when I was reading, if you didn't know, this is the most I've like read a book and like taken. I didn't even do this in high school or college.
Oh,
I'm like
yeah.
reading through the chapters, like jotting down notes
too,
on every
me
chapter.
too,
I'm like,
me
wow, if I was just dedicated in college, mostly high school. But the first thing I have written down is fire.
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing because what he basically said in the book was that fire, instead of us reacting to our environments, it gave us the opportunity to shape our environments and control what was around us.
It says the power of almost all animals depends on their bodies. So he gave the examples of like an eagle. Like an eagle, like yes, it can fly,
We're in the same way, bro.
but it's dependent upon it's like its own body, its wings, and it's harnessing air.
and it has to wait for certain currents of air to hit it and, to get certain heights when it's flying.
Humans, I can't read my own writing.
Would be all right.
Gained. I don't know what that word is.
Let me see.
Humans gained control. The C's above the O. I forgot how to spell control. Humans gained control of an obedient and possibly limitless force. That was like crazy because
Wild.
we actually owned
Fire.
a part of the universe. Like that was the first time like this is ours. I can do this whenever I want.
No, it's crazy, bro. Like it's unimaginable power to like have it light in darkness. Imagine, side note, we're so lucky to live in modern society where we have street lamps and shit.
Yeah.
But bro, if it's really dark outside in prehistoric times,
Yeah.
it's dark, bro. It's like black.
I agree, but one of my favorite parts about like have you ever been in like nature? and like been like and when it's pitch black and like you've seen the stars.
Dude, that's what I want to experience one time in my life.
You've never done that, bro?
No, I've never had pitch blackness and
It's
seen
nuts.
stars.
when you do that, you'll like you know how like everyone like all the ancient societies they have stories about stars and everything.
Dude, because that's your number one source of entertainment right there.
Bro, when you go and when you go and like in the desert or like in where there's no lights,
Yeah.
and you look up, it's actually insane. Like you'll understand. Like
The
I understand
vastness.
why there's so many stories about the stars because
Dude, yeah.
it's incredible. Like daytime has nothing on nighttime, bro. Nighttime is all time.
Okay. I totally agree with you. If you really think about it, bro, I really want to experience that.
Hey, we'll go, man. Hey, peer pressure takes camping.
Okay, all right, I'm down. I'm down. Pure camping.
camping.
But okay, so another interesting point in chapter 1 that I really enjoyed was how we he talked about the size of our brains.
Yeah.
How we actually sacrifice a big portion of our developmental period inside our mother's womb to like get us out early before we get too big because our brains can barely fit through the cavity that we have to come out of, you know? So like other animals, they get born a little bit later or like much later. Like elephants that come out, they can already walk. They have a bunch of functioning things like they can do with their bodies.
Those videos like horses who come out are
They're like
trotting
ready.
around within,
They're
like,
ready,
within
bro.
like an hour.
They're sprinting at
Come
5.
already. Come out the gate.
Right, but we have to stay with our mothers for a longer period of time because we don't have any of those skills. We're born super early, and that's where it comes in. Where, like, for example, if societies back then, or how he likes to call them bands, in the book he uses the word bands, and I
Sure,
like
talking
that
about band, bro.
'cause I just think about like
There's a nice
people-
ska band
just
going on.
people
You know what I
with
mean?
like naked people with guitars.
We need a drummer, bro. You trying?
But he talks about the bands and how if you were I don't know if monogamy was a thing back then, but for example, if a mother gave birth and the father wasn't there and he was like out or he was in another band now,
hanging out
Right?
with the boys,
right? She would have to have her child because it was born so early. It would have to be watched over by the rest of the band when she went out to gather like fruits and whatever.
Yeah. That was one of the like he made it
Takes a
seem,
village.
He made it seem like a detriment in that chapter.
You think so?
Yeah, because he's like because okay, what he's talking about like when we got to that point because we were our descendants or cousins from apes. And apes are more, they don't stand up upright. I mean, they can, but they're more hunched over. And then, like, most of our ancestors were more hunched over.
Right.
And they were saying, like, development or evolutionary.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I hit the bomb on accident. As we started to
Evolution.
Woo! Evolution. As we started doing all that stuff, like, and as our, like, the structure of our body started, like, becoming more upright.
Yes.
It messed up the birth process.
Exactly.
The birthing process.
Exactly.
And it made us have babies a lot earlier, which was like seen as because you have this thing that can't take care of itself, and you just have to like take care of it for like a year, and you can't it can't leave its sight. But like the flip side of that, then you weren't completely dependent on like genetics for your upbringing.
That's our superpower, my guy. Our brain is like it's a gift and a curse. Our brain.
Now you're influenced by everyone who you're raised around, which could be a horrible thing if you're like you know what I mean.
If your band is trash.
If have you seen that thing like if you don't have human touch?
Oh yeah.
Like you can volunteer to go into hospitals just to hold babies because human touch is so critical at like young ages. So like that's like a huge detriment, but at the same time, like you can be shaped from a young age to do tremendous things.
Also, going back to fire helped us cook stuff. I'm just going through my notes really quick.
Oh no.
Helped us cook a lot of stuff, and I think Migos is the best.
ever.
But yeah, no, cooking was vital also to our human experience coming up.
I've seen something. I've seen a TED talk saying the only reason our brains were able to grow, the frontal lobe of our brains were able to grow to
Don't
the
tell
size.
me what you're about to say.
It's fire.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say meat.
No. It was the ability. Yes, but
God.
it was fucking get this meat talk off my podcast. No, but it was the ability to cook our food because we weren't able to eat a lot of foods before.
Right.
When we were able to cook it, a lot more nutrients came out and it made a lot more foods like available to eat. So fire is like one of the bigger causes for our frontal lobe and us being able to like think the way we do growing. Once we invented fire, you saw our brain mass enlarge.
Wild.
Not necessarily total brain mass, but frontal lobe.
I feel
You know what I'm saying? Shout out meat.
It's okay. Don't shout
It's
out.
not all meat. It's mostly fire.
All right. What I did like about also chapter 1 is that he kind of ended on a cliffhanger, like talking about replacement or interbreeding. So
Wait, did they
what?
talk about that in the first chapter? Or is it
like
the second chapter?
they talked about Homo sapiens expanding from Eastern Africa to the rest of the world. Where, for example, like
Shout out. What's the place in Black Panther?
Wakanda.
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't think I could drop that reference because I don't even.
I watch comic book YouTube videos.
You watch comic book? Oh, I watch comic books.
No.
Oh, sorry.
But he talked about when Homo sapiens were expanding from Eastern Africa to other parts of the world, or
yeah,
when the continents were still kind of close together.
Pangea, you know.
He talked.
Ting.
He talked about
little big things.
He talked about how we moved up to the regions where a lot of Neanderthals were staying at, and like
wait. Side note, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is important to what you're saying
Yes.
for context. One of the big things that the author talked about was like us thinking, one, that we were the only species, but not only are we not the only species of like hominoids, but
chill out with the big science.
you
words.
know, but we were not the only species at a time. Like as we were
Yes.
alive, there was Neanderthal, Homo erectus. There was a lot of other different species. Like, can you imagine? Like,
We're the best.
if we had problems with like other races right now, if we had other species of humans,
Could you imagine if like Neanderthals or Homo erectus survived with us
it'd be nuts.
to this day and age? Like,
Dude,
it'd
there'd be
wild.
so much. It would be like racism times 50,000.
Yes.
Like it would be like, bro, you're Neanderthal. Like it'd be nuts.
Your mom's a Neanderthal, bro. Get out here, mudblood.
and your dad's a Homo erectus. Sapiens. What's up, Sapien gang, bro? What's up? You don't know nothing about the Sapiens.
Straight up.
Anyway, so I think that the Neanderthals occupied like parts of Eurasia, like colder climates, and they had more prominent features and stuff. So they're a little bit different than
Bigger
we were.
brains. One of the biggest
Yes,
things they had bigger
did
brains.
bigger brains. Contrary to popular belief, if you don't know.
You know.
And so there were two theories about how they got wiped out. This is something I didn't really thoroughly get it when I was reading it. I'm just admitting my flaws. You know what I mean? I need Dom to help me out. There are two theories. There's the replacement theory. You there in your notes, my guy?
I'm trying to find my
All right.
trying to find my notes.
So there's. Let me just break it down while Dom finds it.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, so there's.
I'm sorry. I rested something on the bomb pad.
Okay, so
Flight pad.
we got the replacement versus interbreeding theories. So the first one, that sapiens replaced the current species in their geographical area, or we interbred with them.
The replacement theory versus the interbreeding theory is the replacement theory is basically genocide. Like
we just killed them.
like Homo sapiens were later to develop. They were younger than Homo erectus and Neanderthals.
YUN.
Then
Gee.
Homo sapiens came in, and they were in Africa for a long time. Once they crossed the continent, they tried to cross once, and then they retreated,
Had
and then
to
they
fall
came
back.
The second time they came back, then you started seeing Neanderthals and Homo erectus start disappearing. That's when we started to be the most dominant race. And that was because our cognitive, that's something we'll talk about later. Our cognitive abilities started developing and we're able to take out them, right?
Yeah.
So the theory is that we either push them off their territory because we are more advanced evolutionary. That's the replacement theory. The most interesting one to me and the most controversial, and that's what they said, it would open a powder keg in the scientific community.
Powder keg?
Yeah. You
What
never
is
heard that word?
No. I know. I could understand it's like a Pandora's box type of thing,
Like
right?
think about a gunpowder, a keg full of gunpowder,
okay.
and then you light that shit on fire.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
We
I
need
got
the-
references, my guy. Don't even.
I was about to hit the
Anyway.
bottom. Okay.
Interbreeding theory is that instead of wiping out, they're saying like at one point species can like before you reach the point where like your gene pool is its own species.
Yes.
Where like you only want to breed with your species. There's like gray areas in evolution.
Right.
To where that like Homo sapiens could possibly want to or could have produced like viable offspring with Neanderthals.
Right.
So what the interbreeding theory is that we didn't like erase them. We interbred with Neanderthals and Homo erectus.
Right.
What's most interesting about that to me
Yes.
is in the world, right? If you were to name like the three most dominant, not dominant, but prevalent races.
Yeah.
Like the ones that have the most, like you can pick them out. What would it be? The three, like in general.
White, black, and Asian.
White, black, and Asian.
I like them brown, yellow, white, black, or Asian.
Well, I like them brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, or Haitian. No matter who you are, we the Zulu.
That's not even the words.
Shout out Zulu Nation one time. But what's interesting about that, right, is you have the Neanderthals who are based in Europe.
Yeah.
Those were Neanderthals like stem from.
Yep.
You have Homo erectus, which is based from Asia,
You know me, stand up.
and you have Homo sapiens, who are based from
Africa.
Just so happens that those are the three like predominant races that
exactly.
we see now.
Yeah.
And then there's like mixtures of different ones. What they're saying is that theory is instead of Homo sapiens eradicating all the other species, they combine.
Yes.
So like if you like, so that's saying if you're like European, you might have more Neanderthal DNA.
Which is crazy. If they find legitimacy in that, it
Yeah.
would like again open up the powder keg, like you were saying.
That it's not we're actually descended from a little bit different species.
Yes.
What was interesting about that too, and they're saying like, yes, and this might not be the most PC thing, and this might like change everything we thought about us being like all race not mattering.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing is like they do DNA samples now, and Europeans are found to have more Neanderthal DNA.
That's what they said in the book, right? I
Yeah.
think that's what I remember.
Europeans have
God.
more Neanderthal DNA. Now you want a fuego take. This is I thought about this while like, okay,
Give me the fuego.
this one's like, you watch a lot of these white nationalist dudes, right?
Yes.
And they say that Europeans were one of the first people to advance and to make boats and do all this type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They were like that, like whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I don't believe that, but Neanderthals had the bigger brains out of the
Yes.
other races,
Right.
Out of the other species of. So it's interesting now that you're saying that these different species might have had different effects on the different races, and if we are
Yeah.
part of different, like we would have different attributes.
Yes.
As
Just an aside, the bigger brain thing doesn't always necessarily mean smarter.
100%
Right.
not.
Exactly.
But these different species carried with them
Yeah.
different traits.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if you look at those three species, there's a lot of different like.
I don't know the exact specifications of like
Neither-
a Homo erectus. I forget.
That's the only one I'm sketchy
Dom
on.
hates Asians.
Well, because no, in this one they really talked about Neanderthals and they talked about Homo
yeah,
sapiens.
exactly.
That theory is so interesting to me and so scary to
It's
me.
crazy to me,
and
to be honest.
so scary to me.
Yeah, it could again open up Pandora's box if they were to find more. I mean, they already did find some evidence about that. But if the wrong people get their hands on that, you know what I mean?
I mean, but like, even if that like if the interbreeding theory were to be true, which
Yes.
it looks like what he's saying in the book, he's saying it's not proven, but he's saying it's looking like.
How do you feel, Dom? Do you feel like, I mean, give me your best scientific, put your lab coat on, just tell me like
What?
Like what do you lean more towards? Do you think we killed them or do you think we interbred?
I think it's 100% interbreeding, bro. If you look like
I'm torn, bro.
there's like there's like off top, like there's the three predominant races, like with the most like pronounced features.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Everyone else, the only one I could think of is like Latin America,
Yeah.
and that's like a little bit like a
A little melting pot.
yeah.
you know?
Where do they come from?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where are they? You know what I mean?
Where are they at?
But you see these races with like, if you put like a black person, a white person, and an Asian person, all like from like they like that their family never left the country they're from.
Yeah.
They look extremely different.
Oh, for sure.
You know what
For
I
sure.
mean? And so it's like I don't know, like I don't know, but it's interesting. I like that idea more because it's way more fun to think about and way more interesting than just like, oh, we're all Homo sapiens.
Part of me really likes the replacement theory because I do, if that is found out to be true, I do want to know how we wiped them out or what caused us to want to go ham on them and just kill them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the other species. I do want to know also what prehistoric warfare would look like.
Probably rocks
Probably
to the
rock.
dome. I'm sending shots at your fitted. That I with it.
Okay, so
Peer pressure.
So another thing that I liked at the end of chapter 1 was
Yeah.
language. He started introducing language, and going to chapter 2, what he did say, what I wrote a note on was that I'm quoting this.
Yeah.
He said, "We have a very supple language."
I don't know how I feel about that word usage right there.
He said real supple language.
what do you
And so I think that basically what he was implying was that we have a better understanding, or we can, as Homo sapiens, understand more abstract concepts. So, for example, like if
I see what you
for example, like I think what he was saying is like it's a more malleable way of talking, you know, or a more malleable language. And so with Homo Neanderthalis, or the Neanderthals,
Whoa, Homo Neanderthalis.
that's what it is, bro. You
You know what it is. That's what it is.
I got my lab coat on. You know what it is. But for example, they could just tell you, oh, there's a lion by the water pond or
Yeah.
whatever. But for example, Homo sapiens can say like, oh, there was once a lion by the water pond who was doing this, this, and this, and they can tell you these stories, which is a key part of our existence. Is the ability to understand abstract language and tell these kinds of stories. So that's, I think, what the main focus was on in chapter 2.
That was one of my. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was one of my favorite parts. Was when talking about language and like they talked about that part where it was like you have these two things that like they could either say there's an alligator or there's like a.
They could tell a make believe story about the alligator at the thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that changed.
Everything. And so what was really prominent about that was at this point, I think that there were bigger bands of Homo sapiens grouping together. And so what's really important is this something that he called the gossip theory. And in a way, it does, he said, it helps us manage these big groups by being able to talk about one another.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, like in present day, it carries through because even
100%.
like when I'm in, for
Shout out
example,
Twitter.
Yes, exactly, exactly, 1,000%. But even like face to face, like in the workplace,
Yeah.
like you're for sure talking about your coworkers behind their back, like good or bad. Like, oh, they did this really well, like, but like you're telling someone else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that helps you manage your relationships with everyone else in that big group of people. And so that's basically why language was super important to the evolution.
To put that in a context, what they're saying is like in nature, tribes of monkeys, because monkeys are our closest cousins. So a lot of
Yes.
people study them. And
Monkeys, bro? What?
We're human beings. We have a soul.
All right, too far with the S word, my guy.
But
Hey,
anyway,
bro.
they were saying that monkeys you only see in nature. You only see tribes of monkeys up to like I want to say it's like 100.
Yes, yeah, something
And
like
then-
that, some smaller number.
Yeah, and then you introduce gossip and the ability to with the use of language to talk about other people.
Yes.
Now I don't, because like when you're in when you can only talk like directly and you can't talk about other people. Now you only know if I can trust you based on my personal interactions with you. It's physically
That's a crazy way to look at it.
It's physically impossible to have physical interactions. I think like the max is like 150 that everyone has to have like physical interactions. So you can't like have like to expand like 250.
Yes.
You can't know whether you can trust 250 people. It's too many people. Gossip, the ability to talk about other people, allowed us to be like, yo, I don't know Brandon, but I've heard good things about him.
Right.
It's nepotism at its best. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yo, I don't know this person, but like, yo, they're cool. Hey, I trust you. I'm gonna believe that,
Right,
Because you
right.
told me about that.
And that's automatically a link between the two people that haven't met yet.
Exactly. So being able to talk about people and gossip,
Yes.
let us get from 100 people to 250. But there's a cap at 250, and it's said in the book. What took us to the next level is my favorite part of this book:
What was it?
the ability to develop.
Oh. Wow.
What was that?
Was that me?
That's my computer.
That was your computer.
Sending shots at your fetish.
Anyway, okay, so just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Remember when they talked about the Pope in the book?
Yeah.
Is that part of myths? Because he was talking about
Yes.
how that now our social patterns are not governed by our DNA.
Yeah.
So, like for example,
Pope don't get none.
right. The Pope is, to put it in scientific terms, the Pope is celibate and he practices
No game.
The Pope ain't got no game.
Pope ain't got no game,
Well,
son.
the nuns at my
That's
guy.
just the celibacy is a sham.
I know.
He's just trying to put a front and no game.
But
Pulling no nuns.
that's how they pick the Pope. Yo, who has the weakest game at
Oh, man,
all?
this guy.
Which bishop has the weakest game?
I think I was going to say some which bishop. Oh, whoa.
Chill out, my guy.
Chill out, bro. This is
No,
chill
but
and chill.
for example, like DNA doesn't govern our social interactions anymore. So like he said in the book, the Pope doesn't carry the infertility gene, like quote unquote.
Yeah.
He just chooses, or he tells that story to himself, or the story of Catholicism, or that myth that.
What do you mean the story? What do you mean the myth?
Oh God.
Whoa. Wait, did you call Catholicism a myth?
No, it could be interpreted that way.
What would your mother say?
And in the context of this book, the context of this book, like,
This episode's gonna make a lot of enemies.
I know.
We wouldn't put in some awkward positions.
These are all hot takes.
You can't just discuss this type of stuff on air.
No, but anyway, he doesn't carry that infertility gene where he just plays along or follows a story of the Pope is not supposed to partake in sexual intercourse.
Okay, scientist Brando. The Pope is not supposed to partake in sexual intercourse of penile and
the penile
vaginal.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, but no, they talk about myths in the form of like they talk about these the ability to tell myths.
Yeah.
Myths like religion, myths like money, myths like the biggest one they said was companies.
I love that part of the
Me
book.
too, because it was talking about like for a long time, if you were to have a company, you're putting your own name on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't know what year it was, but they developed like LLCs, limited liability corporations.
Right.
Shout out Kamal.
Shout out to Kamal, bro. All the
Hey,
business
shout out-
knowledge.
hey, my guy.
Listen to episode 32 one time if you don't know.
Go back in the archives. But they talk about LLCs, and that was actually forming, literally pulling things out of midair,
Yes.
and creating like people now they treat things like
Its own brand or the LLC is its own person.
the company is its own person. When you're suing the company, you're not suing Brando, owner of Peer Pressure. You're suing
Yeah, exactly.
Peer Pressure. You know what I mean?
We got to set that LLC up, just by the way.
The story of Puget.
Oh, Puget or something like that. It's like a car company.
Yeah, Puget. Is that how you say it?
I think so. I'm just guessing. I'm
Puget.
resting on my French.
Puget.
Spell it out for the people.
But it's a Peugeut.
All right.
It's a car company, and it told the what myths did to us through the story of this car company.
Yes.
Or what myths are. And it says that Puget is a figment.
One more
That's
time.
my French accent.
One more time.
No, you're not gonna get that one again. Puget is a figment of our imagination. There's no connection of the car company Puget to the physical world. It's all made up. So
Right.
there's a symbol of Puget. People work for Puget, but if they fired everyone that they ever worked for,
Yes.
the symbol of Puget would still be there.
right.
The
Even if
the-
they destroyed all the factories, Puget would still exist.
And there's nothing holding bringing it into like real world terms. Apple is literally something in our imagination.
Yes.
You know
Side
what I
note,
mean?
real world terms, I think he means modern times.
Real world.
Because Puget is not fake.
Anyway, Apple is not like nothing physically holds Apple. It's not a person.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
But the myth of Apple
Yes.
is such a big thing, and it unites so many people. I say Apple, and you don't honestly. If I say Apple right now, like if I
Yeah.
just said the word Apple, would you think of the fruit or the company?
I'm thinking my boy Stevie J. My boy Stevie J, My
What-
boy Waz, bro.
My favorite. Oh my god!
My
Shout
boy
out Waz, man, the
that was-
forgotten soldier.
Yo, so that was the
That's my
original, the OG of Steve Jobs.
Shout out. I'm trying to think of. There's a. Anyways, my favorite thing when they talk about myths are money.
Oh my god, bro. The biggest myth of the world.
The conspiracy theorist in me
God.
loves the money one,
Oh,
and it was
God.
talking about how like money is like literally just it doesn't exist. Like there's like money is actually nothing.
even with gold backing, the myth of gold is already
The
already a
myth of
thing.
gold is, you know what I mean, but without money, we would not be able to have the advanced, complex, developed societies that we have now, because everyone buys into money, and everyone buys in even the myth of family. Like it's a myth, bro. Like the nuclear family is
Yeah.
a myth. It's something that we buy into, and it makes society easier. And like a lot of people who are on like the other side of this, like, man, this stuff doesn't exist. Like anti-system, like capitalism doesn't. Yes, like they don't exist.
Anarchy.
Yeah, they don't exist, but those systems help us
Yeah,
like
exactly.
operate in this. America has how many people?
I don't know, bro.
And it says that we wouldn't be able to operate in the system in the fashion.
Was
we
this
do.
in the book, bro?
Yeah,
I
this is
do-
all in the book.
I do not remember this part at all about
The money part?
I don't remember the money part at all, my guy.
Maybe I imagine this all, but I swear to God, money is part of
Dominic's
it.
conspiraciness is just coming through right
Bro,
now.
I was a hardcore conspiracy.
I know,
theorist. You
I
ever seen
know.
Zeitgeist
No,
1, 2, and 3?
no,
Zeitgeist Addendum.
no. chill.
Zeitgeist the next chapter.
Peer pressure.
And we're back. So, yeah. So the myths of money. I'm trying to go back to trading and bartering, my guy, and hunting and gathering.
Hunting and gathering.
But is that all you want to talk about in chapter 2? Because
I want to talk about one more thing.
Give me that.
I have this last of this. Myths are fast. Myths create beliefs, and beliefs create culture. Culture can change overnight and is faster than genes. Culture allowed humans to evolve faster because they could bypass genes. That was the biggest part of this chapter.
Oh, right.
Once we developed myths and language, all of a sudden evolution was on the expressway because it didn't take biology. It went from biology to psychology.
Yes.
Because
yes.
now it's a study of cultures and how images, ideas, and these myths influence us besides genes influencing us.
we were relying less on our physical capabilities and what our bodies were telling us, and now we were focusing on our abstract thoughts of the world and telling myths and stories.
And that allowed us to progress exponentially faster
Yes.
than biology. Let's
Talk
close
to
out chapter 2.
all right,
All right,
next.
so if you're following along, we're on chapter
what comes after 2?
3.
Three.
I was going to say a page number, but I didn't know.
All right. But basically what chapter 3 was mostly about was humans now are hunters and gatherers. So basically forging was a
It's
very
a big goal, my guy.
Could you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm a little sick.
I'm nervous.
Forging and gathering? Gulp. But
I'm not
no,
gonna lie,
yeah.
I only got to chapter 2 apparently. I'm like
Straight up.
to be fair, I've read this whole book before, so
Oh, you don't need to flex
you know
on
what I
him.
mean? I
you don't need to flex on him, bro.
gotta, you know.
Okay, let's go on my limited notes of chapter 3.
All right.
All right. So basically, what I have written down: foraging is hunting, and it was a group activity. Okay, so what they did talk about was at this point in human evolution, it was a very fast-paced living environment. So humans were in these bands; they're playing all these instruments.
I hate you.
They're singing their hearts out in these bands. And basically, it was all about speed. So sometimes, I think I'm skipping ahead a little bit.
It's cool.
But the group could be very ruthless. So he drew some not inspiration, he drew some facts from current day, like, tribal people.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking about how they would, like, kill babies if they're, like, being too slow or slowing them down, like,
Yeah.
kill elderly people and stuff like that. And they're ruthless, and it was all about speed and trying to gather and move around as much as you could and never staying stagnant. Because that's a big contradiction to what's coming next, which is
Lay it on me.
yeah. No, we're not there. Just a little cliffhanger for the moment.
I think feelings were the worst things that ever happened to the human species.
Feelings?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on what you're talking about because, like, evolutionary success, bro.
Right.
If you can't keep up,
Sorry.
later.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? That's evolution is reckless. It doesn't care.
Right. Exactly.
I'm talking about it like it's a person. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
obviously, it's not. It's a process, but like it's like capitalism.
the market
it's-
will go without you or not. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Competition. The best wins. You know
Shouts
what I
to
mean?
Gary V.
That's what evolution is. And
Yes.
it's like it doesn't care about
1,000%.
anything. Yeah, and that's what like so it makes sense that there was tribes who, if the baby wasn't strong enough,
If you're too old, it's out.
Later.
You know what I mean?
you know what I mean? Oh, you're old, you can't move.
Right.
Throat,
Baby,
gone.
we can make another one. Give us 9 months, my guy.
Oh, you like that vein on your jugular? Cut.
That vein on your jugular. Not your jugular vein.
Oh, is that? I didn't know what the jugular was.
Oh, yeah. The jugular is a vein. It's, yeah. Anyway. Also, what did stick out to me, my limited notes that I took, that the brains of these hunter-gatherers
Yeah.
were larger than our current brains.
That
And
was interesting.
Yes. And again, larger brains doesn't mean smarter. But I
I think that's an important thing.
but it was
to-
bigger. But
Yeah.
I don't know how the brain works. Like, if it's bigger, it can store more information? Like, I don't know. Because he did say that they did have a lot of knowledge about their environment because they had to. So they had to know how to make fire with things they had around them. They had to know what berries were good to eat and what things were safe and what weren't what wasn't safe.
I'm no neurologist. Did take a couple cognitive psychology classes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna bomb you for that.
But like to me, it just makes sense that if you have a storage container
Right.
and it can fit more, obviously, because it's bigger.
If your hard drive's a terabyte, you know.
Exactly, but compared to 500 gigabytes,
Right.
I think you could store more.
Exactly.
That is very like that's breaking it down to like very
Very
elementary
simple.
terms.
Could be so wrong.
But I'm like let's have a next guest.
Peer pressure.
Next guest.
You gotta be careful with the pen, my
I
guy.
know. Next guest we're having a neurologist on here.
All right, got it. But also he did say that they were less specialized than we are today. So, for example, I think he gave the example of like a factory worker.
Yeah.
Like they know that one thing. Like they can put the circle in the circle shape. Like they know that super well.
That makes sense.
And so these people, the hunter gatherers, our distant relatives, had a bigger brain and they could remember more things about their environment and stuff like that.
So they were literally like you have like these people who like I heard when you get a PhD,
Yes.
you know a lot about very little.
Right.
And I think like what it's saying is were these Homo sapiens or we're in the all Homo sapien period
all Homo
now.
sapiens. We've already either killed them or merged with the other.
Or had sex with them.
Okay.
But they talked about like to me the Homo sapiens back then,
Yeah.
like with more general knowledge is like the jack of all trades.
Exactly.
Where you weren't like you didn't have a PhD in how to grow plants, but you knew everything about your
every little
environment because
thing.
you had to.
Yeah.
Every little thing
To
I
survive.
do.
But then they also talked about. I wrote down the word animism in religion is a possibility. So I think in this chapter, I don't know if you remember that statue they put in the book, the picture of
Yeah.
like the dude that was like a half wolf or like half lion, whatever, and the rest of him was a person. So I think that's when we started crossing over into incorporating animals into our religions and stuff like that. Back
What
then.
did it say about that? It said that it was. Do you remember?
I wish I could tell you more.
It's all good.
But all I wrote down was animism in religion as a possibility.
That's kids while you stay in school and take
Yeah.
good notes.
But okay, let
Cornell
me-
style, preferably.
All right, and I don't like Cornell style notes, by the
Dude,
way.
Cornell style was the most trash gimmick I've ever come across in my entire life. It's about bullets and
Okay.
other bullets and Roman numerals.
Let's go to chapter 4 here.
Shout out my guys, chapter 4.
You know, I thought I also took notes on chapter 4. I'm trying to look through my notebook right now. One time, I don't think I did.
And this has been a peer pressure.
No,
Home
wait, no,
Related
we're not done yet. We're not.
Chapters
we have-
1 through 3.
we have 4. I got 4 and 5 in my brain.
Chapters 1 through 2
in
and a
that big
half.
storage in that big storage container, my guy. So okay, the main takeaway from chapter 4
Yeah.
was that when humans started expanding, so they talked about this big voyage to they started expanding all across the world.
Humans. By the way,
Sapiens, sorry.
In the book, I like this a lot because going back to like that very first chapter, he talked about how it's like a big secret that like humans are the only ones and that there's multiple humans. So in the book, he refers to humans as the species of human. No,
He refers to as sapiens.
he refers to humans as the genesis of sapiens, or no, not of humans, hominoids. So
Oh,
Homo
gotcha,
sapiens,
gotcha,
Neanderthals. He refers to the species of Homo sapiens as sapiens. So humans is the entire like genus.
Right.
Is that the right word? I feel like I'm saying it wrong every time.
It could be genus or genus.
I like genus.
Yeah.
Humans is the whole genus.
Yeah.
Genius. And sapiens
got it.
is the species.
Thank you. You got it, man. You got it.
I was looking at you for help. Like, hey,
No,
go-
I was looking at my notes. I'm
help me
sorry.
out.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all you.
But basically, when humans were expanding across the globe, we're essentially the most destructive species of all time. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
And so we were moving through, and scientists don't really understand how we got to Australia, but we did. We got there through the waters. We navigated our way to Australia.
Side note: there was another type of species in Australia. The Dura.
They were like smaller, right?
Yeah,
They were like I don't know how to say this, but
it's
without
small out there, mate.
okay.
It started with a D. Their species started with a D. I forgot.
They were like a little bit. He talked about their size. They could be like 4 feet tall. Like they were real small.
yeah.
I don't. I,
I
forgot.
think I don't know. Yeah,
But
might be a
anyway,
different one.
Anyway, so when sapiens started expanding to Australia, before we got there, there was like hella. They call in the book, and the scientific term is megafauna.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Like
So
that.
there was like hella megafauna and
Megafauna. Damn, you megafauna.
damn girl, you megafauna. No, okay, but also in Australia they were evolving in ways that we had never seen before. They were marsupials, and if you don't know,
Wait, the animals were evolving like
yeah,
we've never seen before?
Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you, but yes, the animals were evolving as marsupials, and they obviously carry their
Little
babies.
joeys.
Yeah, the little joeys. That's just kangaroos, but you know,
Little jow.
they just
That's
carry,
not an Australian accent. I don't know what
No.
kind of accent.
but they carry their young for a part of their infancy in a pouch.
Y-U-N-G.
Yeah, exactly. And so, for example, there was like the biggest marsupial ever down there. There was like a marsupial tiger
Down
and stuff like
under.
that. Yeah, exactly. And so, I keep like,
Bro, I could go on and on with these Australian jokes.
I keep like brushing you off. Like, oh yeah, sure, exactly, whatever. Yeah, Margot Robbie, whatever. Vegemite and shit. Anyway, so when we got there, we literally killed off all the big species. We killed off all the megafauna. And in the book, he reasons out and says that first of all, they didn't know what we looked like. The megafauna did not know what sapiens looked like. Second of all, we don't look that threatening because all of our power is in our minds.
Just like Isaiah Thomas. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
You come up the court, you say Isaiah Thomas, like,
Oh, this guy.
Oh, punk this fool.
Yeah.
You come up,
If
you
you don't know,
drop 50.
if you who are not initiated,
If you
to
don't
the-
know who Isaiah Thomas is, stop listening to this right now.
yeah, no. If you don't know basketball, I'll explain to you.
Shout out Earl Boykins.
Okay,
That's a deep cut.
Okay, wait. Isaiah Thomas is like 5'10", like 5'9".
He's 5'9",
He's like 5'9", and he's playing the NBA, where the average point guard is like 6 feet tall.
He's playing in the NBA or the National Basketball Association.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so humans wiped out all of the megafauna, and essentially we are the most destructive species on the planet. And I really have nothing else because I have no more notes on chapter 4.
That was interesting. Though, I like that part because it said like they found like because they do all this through like fossils and stuff like that. So whenever they find like
Fossils, bro. What?
fossils, the watch.
The watch brand?
Can you imagine?
The watch
They
LLC?
just dig up fossil watches. They're like, oh man, this got the gold plated. The Sapiens were here. This was iced out, bro.
One day in the future, bro.
This is the Gucci Mane era. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, but wherever they found fossils of Homo sapiens,
Yes.
they would find megafauna that like other,
Damn, bro.
but like within like a certain period, like within I think it was like I want to say like 1,000 to 2,000 years,
Yes.
they would find no more dated megafauna. So like within like 1,000 to 2,000 years of when the Homo sapiens inhabited those areas, megafauna were gone,
I like that snap you added.
which is pretty crazy. Like it's pretty and it's all because
Yeah, bro. And it sucks because now after I read this chapter, I looked up a documentary on YouTube about the Australian megafauna.
really
I promise you. And
pretty interesting.
side note, if you don't know, PBS has a really good YouTube channel called Eons, and they go through all these prehistoric like topics, like the first flowers and dinosaurs and all that. So check it out.
This honestly, regardless, this book like one of my because okay later if you don't know like the layout of this book, it goes over like say you're like a person. Like if we're looking at Sapiens as like one, it goes from like if it's like an autobiography. It goes from birth to like eventual future death of the species Homo
Damn.
sapiens.
Spoiler alert.
What's really interesting, like what my favorite, like once you got like later on into like the different social like capitalism, socialism, that stuff was not as interesting to me. Like the middle of the book, the most interesting part of this book to me was the beginning
Oh, and the end.
and the end.
I'm hyped for the end.
The inception of like sapiens and how we came into this position, like modern day sapiens, because like the story of our ancestors, like the older sapiens, is way longer
Yeah.
than the present day like modern sapiens. Like that's like 50,000 years,
Exactly.
if that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're
We're young.
We've been around for a longer time, like our ancestors. Like to get to this point, like after fire, after the agricultural revolution.
Ooh,
chapter
chill out.
5.
Listen to the kids, bro.
Listen to the ancestors, bro.
But a little segue into the agricultural revolution.
You know what I mean?
It was
Segue like
chapter
I'm Paul Blart.
Yeah, you know what it is. Chapter 4 ended the first part of the book. The second part, there's a whole page that said agricultural revolution on it.
To be fair, I think we should have ended this episode
On
at chapter 4.
chapter 4?
But honestly, we didn't know.
Keep it true. Chapter
Let's just-
5.
you
We're
know what I
going
mean?
into it.
We just thought 5 sounded like a rounded number.
Yeah, you know. So going to this, I forget, did they provide reasons as to why they thought that humans started settling down and stopped hunting and gathering?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Or
It's because we started planting. We figured out how to...
right. And also, I think it depended on the size of our bands and stuff, the size of our groups, because for more people, you needed obviously more food and stuff. And basically, I know we just get the fuego quote out the way. I know you want to say it, Dom. Can you just tell us the fuego quote?
Let me give it some backing.
No.
Just let me give it some backing first. So what Brando was saying, what my good friend here Brando was saying, was that you had like for all of our existence, basically, we were hunter gatherers.
Yeah.
We were traveling all over the land. We didn't have a home. No place to call my home.
Vagabonds,
you know what
gypsies,
I mean? You know what I mean? James Franco's. But that didn't relate. But I was trying to pull like a whatever.
What?
We were hunter gatherers.
Yes.
We traveled around, ate berries, ate a little bit of meat here and there.
Here and
not
there.
Not a lot because we're very health conscious, animal conscious.
You know what it is.
Shout out Apples Amanda's. Just kidding. But anyway, sorry, I'll bleep that. Bleep that too. Anyway, sorry. But we were hunter gatherers. We traveled around. We ate meat. We picked berries. We figured out by chance how to plant and take care of plants, how to nurture crops.
I hear it coming.
How to harvest crops. And I'm going to lead up to it because I think the lead up matters. So all of a sudden we started having crops like wheat. Mm-hmm. We started having
crops like what?
Like wheat. Shout out wheat, bro. The biggest player in the whole story of Sapiens is wheat.
Wheat for sure.
We got like corn, wheat, grains, rice. We started being in control of them.
Yes.
Right? So we started, all of a sudden we went from beings who were moving around, vagabonds, to settling down, forming villages.
Right.
Because at this point, then we didn't need to travel from place to place with the seasons to hunt like different things, to hunt, to gather. Like, because if you think about it, you'd have to go to different places with different things were in season.
Yes.
When we started mastering how to plant crops, we could stay in the same place. We become sedentary beings.
Sedentary?
Sedentary.
Thank you.
Whatever. So it talks about it. It's like, and then all of a sudden, if you look at...
Wait, just to interject really quick.
Yeah.
So I know when this started happening and we started harvesting these plants.
Yeah.
That's when a bunch of these injuries, ailments and injuries started happening. And so it actually, in a way, became a slight detriment. With the stability came these detriments in like health and well-being and social relationships. So
yes.
continue.
My favorite thing about this book is what I've learned is like, one, everything happened by chance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Shout out Chance with the big guy up there. Let's go gamble. But what I learned is like that these things that happen like within our evolutionary past, you can't look at them in terms of good and bad.
Yeah.
They happened and they had both beneficial effects and detrimental effects that affect us to this day. But anyway, what they said is like all of a sudden we started planting these plants and everything, and then
planting these plants,
and we thought, wait, you said something earlier about off mic, and you're saying crap.
It was like a trap.
Yeah.
So Yuval Noah Harari, in my Rari, the author, called the agricultural.
Bomb, you did it too fast. So
it's okay.
Sorry.
He called the agricultural revolution like the biggest trap in the Sapiens history, and he equated it to, for example, when you're like in your early 20s and you get that job and you say, "Oh, I'm only gonna do this for right now." And then eventually you get a car and you get a house, and then you're stuck in that job and you have to keep working at that job that you only plan to be there for like 2 or 3 years, right? And so that's essentially what happened to Sapiens when they started planting things, because then they had to continue. So the societies kept getting bigger and the bands of people kept getting bigger, and they eventually had to keep tending to these plants that they planted. Mm-hmm. And essentially we started getting more sick because our diet became less varied. It became more
centers upon wheat and like a very
few rotation of grains that we had. And we started getting injuries that we never had from like plowing the land and stuff like that, and like pulling things out of the ground. Like we do that when we're hunter gatherers, but not not in like a repetitive like amounts. You know what I mean?
Our bodies weren't made.
Think about like carpal tunnel when you're typing all day every day.
Yeah.
Like you're not built to do that, and yet these things had to happen because I'm teeing.
I know,
I'm
bro.
teeing
I
you up,
was like, bro, you better not take my thunder.
I'm
You better not take my
teeing you
thunder.
up.
But what happened was,
Oh my God.
these plants look like a godsend to us, right?
Yeah.
They look like it was the greatest thing to happen to us.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, we don't have to look, baby, I got a job, bro. We're not gonna worry about anything anymore. I got us.
We got this wheat here.
Look at this,
baby.
like we'll be fine.
Look at these fields of gold, bro.
Wheat looked like a godsend to us. Little did we know. So we God, God, don't give me that look. What it said in the book is we thought we domesticated wheat because all of a sudden we have this crop, and then if you look at wheat evolutionary, like it was a whatever plant. It was a run of the mill plant, run of the mill grain that would just like it existed in a couple of places. Then all of a sudden we figured out how to grow it and to harvest it, and we domesticated wheat. But he said that was one of the biggest lies in Sapiens history, is that we domesticated wheat, when in fact it was wheat that domesticated us. If you look at us now,
God, that was crazy.
wheat is the most successful crop in the history of plants. Wheat.
Yes, because it low-key bent our minds into thinking like, yo, you got us.
Wheat was like a virus. That
God, my mind is blown.
literally like infected us and be like, baby, I'm all you need. Like, come on, baby.
Lucy don't whatever. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, bro. If you think about it, bro, God, we really got we got the
And we're still getting played by it.
what did Kanye say in Flashing Lights? The old wapti. We got
So you got flashed by the old wapty. Damn, these got me. I hate these more than the Nazis.
we got hit by the old wapti by the wheat, bro. We got hit.
It's crazy. It's crazy that was one of like because like we a lot of times like us as sapiens.
Yeah.
I like referring to us as sapiens
Me
instead
too.
of humans.
Me too.
We a lot of time like to look at history through our eyes. Just how they say history is the story of the winners.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
I feel you.
In evolution, we're essentially the winners, and we look at things through our eyes.
Right.
But we're not seeing that like, oh yeah, we domesticated wheat, and we're using wheat to our advantage. But wheat went from literally like Isaiah Thomas
Here and there, right?
60th pick in the draft. You know what I
Yes.
mean? No name. To being on the same team with LeBron James. And
Exactly.
LeBron, us Sapiens, are taking him to the championship.
Exactly.
We taking IT up with us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
he's just on for the ride. He knows he's playing us the whole
Right.
time.
It's like those fish that lash on the sharks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They just swim along with them, bro. But they are the wheat is just as successful as us.
Yeah.
And it's
no,
nuts.
100%.
Also, the veggie boy in me came out during this
God.
chapter 2 when or chapter also, this chapter 5, not chapter 2.
Yeah.
They talked about how animals like cows,
Yeah.
chickens, and sheep.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, bro, it was really sad because they talked about how we figured out how to like kind of corral them in nature and like kind of border them off so that we could eventually start manipulating them and using them. Oh damn, I said I said
true.
manipulating them.
It's true.
Like,
Honestly,
that
it's
was
true.
some real-
Honestly, like I felt that.
Nah, bro. So eventually, like for example, with sheep, we
Yeah.
use them for meat, for wool, and like for I guess like grazing land and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
clearing out land for planting wheat, right? And so basically we would corner them or kind of get them in a corral, and then we like kill off the more aggressive ones, eat those joints, and then we would keep them. We figured out to keep the mothers and children of the sheep, and then eventually we'd breed more docile animals that way. And so if you think about it now, sheep, cows, and chickens are like in the billions, I think,
Yeah.
on this earth, right?
Yeah. I think they outnumber like humans, or
Do
they're
they?
the most numerous. I could be making that up.
Possibly. Yeah.
I
All
think-
this is fake.
I think that's from what's that?
Cowspiracy?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I'm drawing some facts from Cowspiracy or Food Inc.
But anyway, and he equated them to like, for example, now how we treat them now.
Yeah,
And so because dairy is such a big proponent of our daily lives now, a mother cow can only produce milk when it's a mother cow. A mother cow can only produce milk when it has a baby, my guy. Okay, so what they do is they get the mother cow pregnant, right? And then they immediately, once it gives birth, they strip the baby from it, my guy, and then they immediately start milking. They start milking it, and they don't. they don't let the baby cow grow at all, so that the meat stays tender and juicy when they make the steaks out of it. And he talked about rhinoceros, how they're endangered, right? So he was saying that one rhinoceros that may be the last of his species may be more happy than the millions and billions of cows that are locked up, my guy. Those are sadness air horns.
What was crazy about that?
Dominic is crying, by the way.
Bro, it's just funny to me for so many levels. Just because Brando doesn't like he is or was vegan,
I'm low-key vegetarian, but I'm like a picky vegetarian.
but
now.
he would never like he believed it like a hardcore, but he would never because vegans like there's like
there's a stigma.
there's a strange stigma around being vegan. And it's hilarious to me. And
I'm not about that.
Brandon was vegan and believed in the core values, but hated the stigma.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And so it's just funny when that comes out of him because I know how much like he does.
Bro, deadass, I'll probably never eat meat again, my guy.
Bro, you know this that I'm almost there. You know what I mean? Like I'm on the way.
A few weeks ago, we were at Denny's, and Dom said, "Oh yeah, I don't buy meat anymore, whatever." And I turn around, he's eating meat.
Bro,
my
I'm
guy.
just used to it. Okay. At home, I don't eat meat. All right, I don't. But when I go out, like, if I want a carne asada burrito, bro, I'm not thinking about the cow that came from. I'm just thinking about how good that shit tastes.
My
in my
guy.
mouth.
They literally birthed the babies.
Okay.
Take 'em
okay,
away?
Okay. See this? This is my form of defense. This is my defense right here. All right. I'll get there when I'll eventually give
Oh
me a
yeah,
year.
I got you. I got
I'll
you.
be there.
I got you. I got you.
All right.
I got
Just
you.
let me
I'll let you-
smoothly
you.
transition
I'll let
into
you.
this.
I'll let
All
you.
right. It's gonna happen.
I went cold turkey no matter what.
Anyways, what was interesting about that? Because like if we're talking about evolutionary successful, wheat was very successful.
Yes.
Evolution, like speaking through the lens of evolution, cows and sheep, chickens, so successful.
Biologically, you know.
Yeah, biologically. And then he brought up, he's like, but how happy are they?
Ooh.
Which to be fair, I don't know how happy like chickens. You know what I mean? I don't know what happy. I don't think the concept of happiness like exists.
Let me paint
with
the picture, my guy. Let me just paint the picture one time really quick. And then we'll close the episode out.
Okay.
Bruh, okay, let's say, for example.
Yes, bro. Wait. To be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair, to be fair.
Give me that, give me that.
I'm not saying that it's not messed
Yeah,
up, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying it's not wrong.
I know.
I'm just debating the concept of happiness as it relates to chickens.
If you
I'm not saying we should kill chickens and all that is right.
Yeah.
But like, let me just like.
And again, I have genuinely 1,000% nothing against people who eat meat. I mean, I get it, bro.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's the way of the world. Like not everyone is on this. You're not saying this is like a different. Not everyone's on that like way of thinking. Like if you want to eat your meat, like by all means, I'll break bread with you.
wait,
my
question.
guy.
This is a like okay. Let's say like we were back into the like Homo Sapien era,
Yeah.
right? Where we're killing animals in a way different way, where they basically weren't like treated like they are now.
Exactly, I
Because
feel
like
you.
I agree with that. That's messed up, bro. Like
It's pretty messed up.
Yes,
bro.
and I avoid those movies and I avoid those topics because I know what's gonna happen, and I'm just like smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if it was like a more natural way.
Dude, I get it. I mean, if I was out in the field like hunting,
Yeah.
and I had my little stones and stuff,
Mhm.
like and I was out here trying to get the next meal on my plate, and I was a hunter gatherer.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. I mean, if there's no fruits around, there's no veggies around. You know what I mean?
But that's different, like because you have to.
yeah.
But if it was like if
Oh, like in present times,
Yeah, in
and I was a
present time.
hunter, like with my bow and shit, right?
I guess
I mean,
yeah.
just like for example's sake, or if
Yeah.
I killed like, so I was watching this show, and they're talking about like it was like a chef type of show, whatever. This guy travels around,
yeah.
eats food, and a lot of these chefs are like so like respectful to the meat that they use, and like they literally like thank it before they start cooking it because. It's one thing to turn a blind eye and just be like, oh yeah, I eat meat, whatever. It's another thing to eat it and understand like where
What
it
it
comes
came
from.
to-
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
what happened.
Where it comes from, and to a point, I can see why that like is cool. And if I was not so deep in this, you know, like
Yeah.
I mean I can see that, you know. And one day you never know, like who knows where I'll be at. But I get it. Like if I were to kill my own meat and stuff, and I wasn't like, if I were, for example, raising my own chickens
Yeah.
in like my backyard, they were running free, and I knew that, and they were
Free range.
You know what I mean?
Organic.
Really doing that, laying eggs where they want to and shit. Like
Yeah.
I had to find them. Like that's cool.
Like Easter every morning.
Like
dog.
Easter.
You want some eggs, bro? Gotta go Easter eggs.
Yeah. Anyway,
No.
yeah, no, I get that. If I kill the chicken myself and all that, like that's on me.
Yeah.
You know, and I
That's
would.
on me.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest reason why I would go, or I will eventually. It's gonna happen, bro.
I feel that.
I'm not gonna. Eventually, I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. It's just a slow transition process. But I think the bigger reason I would do it is not because like I'm 100% against eating animals.
I feel you.
Like I think the way the world, the universe has been the way of an organism eating another. I mean, we don't have to. Yes, I understand that, but
Yes.
I don't see something fundamentally wrong with eating another organism. What I do
I feel
see,
that.
what I do see fundamentally wrong is the way that the livestock are treated now.
Again, that's part of the trap because there's such a big human population that we need to do that to
Yeah, it's-
serve
it's-
everyone in the world.
Because if we didn't, if everything was free range, it wouldn't be enough room for humans.
Also, side note, going back to organisms eating other organisms.
Yeah.
For example, like I think in the book he talked about lions, how they slowly through the eons ascended the food chain to be
Yeah.
like the alpha, the apex
Through
predator.
biology.
Yes, through biology. And I forgot what he said about something. How they like I think this is kind of like hokey to me. Like they exude like this pride and this grace where they don't got to do nothing. You know what I mean?
BS.
Right. So, but he said that humans jumped the ladder like crazy
Yeah.
because of fire and because of our mental fortitude.
Because of psychology.
Because this brain, bro, these abstract concepts that we are kind of like still in. We're kind of not programmed for the way we are right now.
They said we almost have like a, what is that? Is it a short?
Like a hunter gatherer mindset in like.
No, it was like a complex. What is it? Like a short? Was it small man complex? What is it? It's
I don't
like,
know.
Some like non PC type of complex. Little man complex or like
Maybe.
You never heard that? Like
No. Late on
a
me.
short guy. It's like basically like if you're like short, you're not that tall. And you have a
Yeah.
certain complex, like you're mad all the time.
Oh,
you feel like
yeah,
you have to-
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
kind of what it is. It's like we were never the strongest creatures in the jungle, and all of a sudden we're not accustomed to being like we still feel like we have to be aggressive towards animals because they could, if we were out in the wild, they could mess us up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we couldn't survive.
I feel you.
But we have like these things now, these tools that allow us to be at these positions.
Yeah. So again, thank you for listening to our little tangent.
Just to back up what I'm saying, I am against the way
I feel-
animals are.
No one's questioning you, my.
I'm just saying.
No one's questioning you, my meat eating brother.
Hey, chill out with that. All right.
Hey, bro, it's all love. I got love for meat eaters. I got love for vegans. You know what it is.
I'm almost there.
Hey, bro, no matter what, you still my friend, man. And that was episode 33 of Peer. I'm not gonna say the episode anymore. That was the first episode of our Sapiens book club. Thank you again for listening to the Peer Pages.
Peer pressure.
And
Wait. If you're listening now, first of all, comment, subscribe, like, you know what I mean? Comment on my Instagram post. If you like this episode, I'm telling you right now, I thoroughly enjoy this book.
Me too.
It really like tickles, like I never use this, but it tickles my brain.
Don't say that.
Like it literally like I read things that like I literally want to scream because it's like crazy concepts. It's not too late to get the book, buy the ebook, and read along with us. Next month we're doing chapters 5 through 10. So you have a month to read chapters 5 through 10. You could tag along, join us.
It would be fire if you did. You can email us at peerxpressure@gmail.com if you got thoughts.
If you read the chapters, I'll come on the show.
Oh yeah,
Talk about the book with us.
We'll phone you in, my guy.
We need some different perspectives on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool little discussion, you know.
And please read the book though. It's a really good book. Shout out my guy Yuval Noah Harari.
In my Rari.
Peace, love, and unity.
Peer pressure. Pressure. Peer pressure.